Our next speaker is definitely a lady, and in fact a very charming lady. I've known her quite a number of years, and it's always a very great pleasure to listen to her. Marina Walser of Novell is the Director Identity and Security, was the Director of Identity and Security Management from 2005 to 2008, and essentially she built the identity business for Novell in Europe as it stands. She currently holds the position of Director Business Development, Identity and Security Management, where she leads the development of strategic partnerships with consulting, implementation, and technology partners in EMEA. She came from Cambridge Technology Partners, which became part of Novell in 2001. Another case of possible mistaken identity, Google also describes her as the president of a Swiss carnival society, but I have my doubts about that. Marina, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Yeah, presentation already on. So I do have Swiss roots, and I must admit I was active in Carnival when I was very young, but in Germany and not in Switzerland. So this must be another identity of mine there. Yeah, when I first drafted this presentation, IdM-SAP-GRC, I thought, eventually I should do a quick check with all of you, a little quiz about all the acronyms that we are using. EIC is another one that everybody now should know. But I'm pretty sure if I did this little quiz, we would come up with some very interesting interpretations for the same three-letter abbreviations. So, but actually, it's not only about the acronyms. It's about something that Martin Kuppinger said yesterday in the opening keynote. Martin said that the time is now there for the final alignment of business and IT. And I think if we want to achieve this alignment, the first step, of course, is to communicate well with each other. And I'm not sure if the business always understands the acronyms that we are using in IT so manifold and so easily. So talking about identity management, GRC, SAP, the big question here is also about business and IT alignment, as well as IT alignment. So is there a collision between the different departments in the enterprise and what they want to achieve, or are we better off with a coalition? And if you regard GRC as being the little teddy bear there, I'm not sure if this is the right symbol for GRC, but you see the different results of collision versus coalition there. And I want to talk about this subject a little bit. So first of all, I want to share some results of a survey that we finished just last Thursday about the reality of GRC in the enterprise, before then talking about the individual challenges that we see between identity management and GRC on the one hand, and between the SAP environments and identity management on the other side, and then of course describe a little bit of a solution there. So I think when I'm deep into my favorite topic and my favorite subject, I think sometimes it really helps to take a step back and try to have a look from a different perspective to that subject. And yeah, as vendors, analysts, the press, we're using GRC and talking about this term so often and since quite a while. We thought this is the new big topic. Now cloud is the new big thing. So is GRC already yesterday, or is it still a hot topic? So what we did was we did a little bit of a reality check in the enterprises to see, yeah, what level of awareness do we have with regards to GRC in the enterprises. So here are some of the results. And first of all, we asked some very basic questions. Like we wanted to know if companies and if the decision makers that we asked know what GRC really means for their enterprise. And yeah, this is a very sad result. Only 36%, only a good third of them said, yes, we have a clear definition of GRC in our enterprise. a little bit more, 42% do have a overview of all the regulations that are relevant to the enterprise. And we just heard that there are 48 regulations in the UK on average, 30 in Germany. So 42% of companies do have an overview of these regulations as they relate to their enterprise. And 56% of the respondents said, but yeah, we have well-defined processes. We know which processes to look at in order to work on GRC topics. And honestly, I think this is a little bit frightening. So to see that there are more people working on processes before, there are a lot of companies working on processes before they actually know what GRC really means for them and what regulations to follow. So yeah, this is a little bit of a weird situation. Looks like there's a lot of action going on, and eventually it would be helpful to have a little bit more thought before that. The next category of questions is around the IT view, and luckily at least almost 70% of the decision makers know which systems they are managing, how many systems they are managing in their enterprise. So this is quite good to know what your regular job is. 30% don't know this yet or don't have the complete picture. Also a little bit weird. However, only a good third of the respondents knows if there are any problems during audits of their systems, and even less, 27%, get detailed information about audit failures that relate to their systems. So here I think we really do have a big communication problem between those running the audits and the one managing the systems in the IT who are supposed to support the audit function. And the third category where we asked a few questions was about success criteria. And unfortunately, just like in many other IT projects, business indicators and business performance indicators don't seem to play a big role for IT people. So only 34% know the short and long-term cost of GRC for their enterprise. And only 17%, and this is very sad, measure the success of their GRC activities. So I think there's some room for improvement here, and GRC is not so yesterday. It's a hot topic, and there is a lot of work to do, and a lot of communication that needs to happen between those responsible for the audits, responsible for the business processes, and for the IT who supports these processes. So a few considerations that you should ask yourself when you look at the GRC readiness and the level of GRC level of compliance and risk awareness, etc., in your enterprise. I think the first and foremost question for you is you should know which regulations relate to you, what is relevant to you, and what GRC means to you. And then, of course, you need to identify manual or clumsy processes that you can optimize. And this is a core competency of the IT, I should say, to optimize processes, to standardize. So this is something that you can easily review and that you can work on. And then the third big area is all about risk assessment. So make a risk assessment of the of your systems and of user access to these systems. Do you know what the critical systems are? Do you know what risk exposure these systems have? Do you know who accesses these systems? Do you know who has access to what? And are you able to identify fraudulent activities and not identify them after they happened, but then also ideally you remediate them as they happen, and then of course analyze the reasons and find a solution.